You know, as 2024 comes to an end today, it's really important to do a recap of what this page and what the message of this page and these videos are really all about. And if this is the first time seeing me, well, my wife passed away from alcohol use disorder a little over 4.5 years ago, almost 5 years ago now. And I tell stories really so that they resonate and that they really leave deep, important impressions and messages of what not to do. In fact, her book, her memoir, is called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism, because it is a cautionary tale. And we learn from the people and the mistakes who came before us so that we don't make the same mistakes and that we don't repeat the same history. The number one takeaway, I think, this message that this page really wants to convey is that it is 100% the responsibility of the person who is suffering from alcohol use disorder, alcoholism, whatever label you want to put on it. It's their responsibility. They cannot blame it on their spouse or their family or their friends or their AA meeting or their job or their government or some malady that's just fantasy in their mind. It's 100%. No one is making you do anything. You have to have it. You have to find somewhere inside yourself to want to get sober and to obtain sustainable sobriety. And that comes with community, it comes with connection, it comes with medications if necessary. I always say use all the tools available, and I'm also available for people who want a more customized format. There are ways to get through alcohol use disorder. You just have to find more reasons to get sober than more reasons not to. In other words, you have to have a stronger vision and faith and understanding to get sober, and that has to be stronger than all your excuses, because the excuses pile up, and if they pile up too high, you're not going to be able to get through them. And I really, really hope that makes sense. And of course, for family members, the most important thing that you have to hear from the alcoholic in your family is that they admit that they have a problem. If they can't even admit that, and that everybody else is a problem, and they're gaslighting and they're deflecting and they're in denial, and they can't even come to the table of probable sobriety, well, then you have to make a decision as a family member. If you can't even get to point A, and that decision is limited contact, maybe no contact, no matter what the relationship is. You don't want to support that kind of madness, and that's really what it is. And that person is on the road to madness because it is a progressive disease. It's not going to go away on its own, and if that disease is in denial, there's nothing stopping it from getting worse and worse and worse, and it will. I mean, there's no difference between anybody. It's progressive. Your body requires more and more alcohol for whatever reason. It just does. That's how it works. And eventually our organs will break down. Alcohol is a class 1 carcinogen. It's literally poison that we're putting into our bodies, and it will break down every organ, not just your liver, your pancreas, your heart, your kidneys, your intestinal tract. It'll burn your esophagus out, your eyes, and eventually, because of a B1 deficiency, horrible diet, and the alcohol intake, it'll affect your brain and give you basically what's a form of alcoholic dementia, but known as Wernicke-Korsakoff, or colloquially wet brain. Not a place you want to be. So you don't want to, as a family member, you want to prevent that from happening. And the other really big takeaway is if you think you have a problem drinking, and you have to ask somebody, people ask me all the time, do you think I have a problem? I drink such and such a day or a week or a month or whatever. And I always say, well, once you ask the people in your life, that's the best litmus test. Ask your friends, your family. I don't mean your drinking buddies. I mean people who will give you an objective answer. And if you can't do that, then yeah, you probably got a problem, because you aren't afraid. You're too afraid to really accept culpability or to really hear the truth. And unfortunately, this is a page where the truth will set you free, and it's very important. The other litmus test is if you can't go, 2 or 3 weeks or a month without drinking, yeah, you got a problem. I mean, if it's that much of an issue in your life, That's the best way to test yourself if you don't have the ability to ask the people in your life, because it affects relationships first, it affects your health second, and then it also affects your productivity and what you're going to do and your purpose on this earth, quite frankly, and it may shorten it. I really, really hope that makes sense. And again, I want to thank everybody for listening. In 2024, I plan on doubling how many people have followed, and just the whole productivity of this page. I want to double or triple it this year. You know, we're approaching 100,000 followers. I started at pretty much zero at the beginning of this year, and we're just getting started. You know, and again, the memoir. It's called Amanda, A Cautionary Tale of Alcoholism. It's the story of my wife's 25-year decline and use with alcohol use disorder, and ultimately she passed away February 21st of 2020, and we're coming up on 5 years. And I want her stories and her life, ultimately the purpose of it moving forward is to save thousands of other people, eventually millions, and affect families and a huge segment of the population. Alcohol use disorder affects 50% of the population, either directly or indirectly. Everybody knows somebody that has an issue with drugs or alcohol or some similar issue. And again, I want to say thank you so much. Again, I go live Monday through Friday right around 6 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We have the Facebook group. It's called There's an Alcoholic in the Family. And when you're ready to work with me one-on-one, schedule a breakthrough call. The link tree in my bio will take you right to a scheduled call. It's a Zoom call, takes about 45 minutes to an hour. We're going to do a deep dive, what's going on with you and your family. All principals have to be on the call though. Okay, the alcoholic and the family, or at least the alcoholic, the person who's going to be actually taking the program needs to be there. Otherwise, it's not really, there's no point in the conversation. Other than that, I want to help people who want to change their lives and the lives of their family. And again, thanks so much for listening.